Alrighty. So I'm here with Jonathan today, and we're basically just going to chat a bit about what he's facing with everything that's going on, and what his experience has been running business. So if you want to just dive right in, Jonathan, introduce yourself, talk a bit about what you do, and we can go from there.
Yeah, my name is Jonathan Brown. We're in Sacramento, California, and we are a general engineering contractor that focuses on asphalt and concrete. We do a lot of public works work projects, street work, things like that. We also have started in the last 2 years venturing into the commercial side, which we've never dealt with before, working on like parking lots and things like that.
Gotcha.
But I'd say the majority of our work, 75% of our work is probably in the public sector, doing
Nice.
streets, widenings, and things like that.
So how long have you? Because you're the owner of the company, right?
I'm one of the owners, yes. And I started it with my brother-in-law, actually. And then
Oh,
we had
nice.
another owner who came in '09 that he kind of focused on concrete and he brought the concrete aspect in. So now it's
That's
the three
awesome.
of us and we run it together.
That's awesome. It's always nice to have a few shoulders to to kind of carry the weight of the load, right?
For sure. And I'm big on collaboration. Like even like really any decisions, I like to hear everybody. I hear multiple opinions before I make it. I don't like to jump into things. I like
Right.
to hear all the options and then I can make, good decisions.
Right. Maybe actually we'll talk a bit about how, like, why you started the partnership, how that's been, what you do differently.
For sure. Um, I'd say that my dad had a construction company growing up. He did residential remodels and things like that, and I liked that work. But I knew that I wasn't really a money guy. I needed someone who could do money, that was good with money, and that was my brother-in-law. Well, I met my wife and I met my brother-in-law through him, obviously,
Right.
and he was very good with money. He was always very strong in money, and I knew that was my weakness. So I knew right from the beginning I was looking for someone like that, and he was getting ready to graduate from college and he was looking to kind of do his own thing also. So
So
we
was his
partnered up right from the
background
get-go.
was his background
Um,
in finances, or
I think he had a degree in communication, but he really hadn't really gotten into the field. He was just graduating college kind of when we started. So
right?
he just had a lot of knowledge. He kind of would do like side hustles on his own, things like that.
I love
But
it.
not too much other business experience until we got together. I'd say we learned most of what we know by trial and error.
The school of hard knocks, as they say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
awesome. No, that's
Right on.
pretty insightful too. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, I want to be a self-made man," right? And kind of struggle through on their own. I think that's very. I think that's a good insight for anybody, really, is to try and partner with people who can complement your weaknesses.
Yeah, I think you gotta know where your strengths and your weaknesses are, and you gotta find people who can do them. I mean, you can't be good at everything.
Yeah.
And you gotta double down on your strengths and look for help in your weaknesses. And I mean, being self-made is great. I think if I had to do it over again, and I knew where I wanted to go, I probably would go try to find a company that does what we did or where I wanted to go, and I would go work for them for like a year or two. Even as an assistant to like a VP or a CEO, and just even if I went and worked for free, getting the
Right.
experience and the knowledge, because we don't even when you're starting off on your own, you don't even know what you don't know. Like you're just learning everything.
You're
So
just
even though you're
failing
starting, you
forward.
need to know where mistakes. Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you at least have a picture of where you're trying to go, it's much easier to get there. But if you don't even know what you're doing, I mean, I would say until like 3 years ago, our goal was just to survive, not like having goals of how to build a business. Now we're focused on goals and towards the future. We got 5 year goals and 10-year goals. I have quarterly goals for all of my people and myself. I mean, 3 to 5 years ago, we were just trying to, make ends meet.
So talk to me a bit about the goal setting process, because I think that struggling through is what a lot of business owners do. What kind of made the switch for you, and kind of got you down that path?
Yeah, I think I've always been goal oriented. I'm like big on lists. I like to write my lists and focus on where I'm going. I
Yep.
think so. In this, I mean, I started in the field. I had Pat in the office, my partner, my brother-in-law. He'd started in the office, and I started in the field. And so we worked 10, 10 years or 9 to 10 years just to get me out of the field so that I could then start estimating. Then I was estimating, and then I taught people to estimate. And then I started kind of getting above that, and I realized that I needed to focus on growing the company and having. I mean, once you get enough people going for you, and it's not just you and one or two workers in the field, you realize that you got a lot of people depending on you to keep the business going.
Right. Right. So working more on it rather than in it.
Yeah, exactly. And focusing. And I think if I could have realized now, like going back now, I would have known from the beginning that's what you should be focused on. You
Right.
should be focused on the goals. Where do I want to be this year? Where do I want to be in 5 years? Because before you're like, well, I don't have time for that. But really, you don't have any. That's all you should have time for. Like that's what matters. If you're just aimlessly going, you're not going to get where you're trying to go.
You're just going to be
If you don't
riding the
know where you're
treadmill.
going, yeah.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get there. Well, you will get there because you because you know where you're going.
Yeah. You can get you're anywhere you go, you're going to have reached nowhere.
Absolutely, yeah. So
Yeah.
you got to know where you're going, I think. And I mean, really, I mean, everyone has free time. You can do that, but you got to write them down. For me, I got to write them down.
Yep.
I only speak for me. I mean, I think everyone works differently. So when I say you, or it means me. I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
You.
So can you talk a bit about those goals or?
Yeah, I mean, our goals are. So I think our goals kind of change, and I think like last year, I would say, or 2 years ago, I was shooting towards goals like financial goals. This is how much money I want the company to do this year. And so we kind of reached those goals, and then I realized the profit wasn't where I wanted it. So then I realized, okay, the goal should be the profit, not the total dollar value,
Right.
because we doubled in size into the same amount of profit. And so I was like, well, that's not really what
Interesting.
we want. We want the profit to double, not with the size. So
Right.
then last year we focused more on the profit and building the profit. So we did a um, little bit more, but our profit doubled.
Wow.
So I think that's the focus, is that we're building on profit. I'm building towards building a system that can kind of run on its own. So this company can run. I have people in place, and now we're really working on building systems, like kind of an employee, not a manual, but like a basically procedures for how the whole company runs. So
Interesting.
when we get new contracts, you put it into the new contracts procedure. When we're estimating, you put it into the estimating procedure, so that everything has a procedure. Everyone knows exactly what they're doing, so it's not doing things differently every time. You're all working on the same page in the same direction.
Right. Right. So you say you doubled profits. What? I mean, I understand doubling sales because that's hustling and getting more people in. What did you do to double your profits?
I think we just looked more into where we were spending, the things that we were doing, the jobs that we were getting. We're a little different with the way that we run jobs, is that we're a pretty small fish in a really big pond. We got a
Okay.
lot of contractors out here that we deal with that are, I mean, they've been around for 150, 200 years. Um, some of the guys that we bid against, their contractor numbers are single digits, and ours
Wow.
is 6 digits. So I
Wow.
mean, they've been around a lot longer than us.
Sure.
And I'd say a lot of the companies, we're pretty young. A lot of the owners in the companies that we're in, they're a good 20 years older than us.
Wow.
So we're much smaller. So we don't need the workflows that they need. We focus more on getting the jobs. So the way that we bid with Public Works is the lowest price gets the job.
Okay.
So everyone hands in a bid, they all open it publicly, and the lowest price gets the job. So
Like
we keep
regardless of,
competition.
it's just entirely a price game.
Yeah, basically, yes. As long as you do your paperwork right. You can be the lowest bid and do your paperwork wrong, and they'll throw your bid out, and then second place will get the job.
Right.
That's
Right.
happened, and that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks a lot, especially when they're big ones that like would change everything, and then you blow it because you wrote a number wrong and you feel like an idiot.
Right. Right.
So yeah. But so what we do is we keep our margins where we need them to be on the jobs that we're bidding, and we'll just get what we get. So I mean, we try to bid more jobs because I don't need to get as many.
Gotcha. So you're bidding where your profits need to be. You're not undercutting just to get the job.
Yeah, we'll just keep them there. And the way it kind of works that we found in our experience is that it runs in cycles. So a lot of these big guys, they'll get a lot of work. They'll get like 5, 6, 7 jobs all in a row, and they'll start nailing them. Then all of a sudden, their pricing starts going up.
Okay.
So a bunch of these guys will start filling up, and all their pricing goes up, and we keep our pricing the same. So the bar kind of raises above us, and then we'll start nailing a bunch of these good jobs.
So it's kind of cyclical then.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, like we just got a job that we're going to be doing, hopefully starting at the end of this month. It's like a $7 million job that we got because everyone else had kind of raised, and we just came right in there and got that right where we needed to be. So that
That's
job will
awesome.
last us a good chunk of the year. I mean, that's a big chunk for us.
Yeah. That's awesome. So talk to me about, I mean, you just landed this job. Are you guys still able to work with what's the state of affairs
Yeah.
with COVID-19 for you?
So we're in California is getting hit pretty hard, and there's a lot. I mean, lockdowns kind of everywhere now. I think we're on week 3 now.
Hmm.
So we're still considered essential. They did
Okay.
call all construction essential. I've heard it's going to tighten down more. But so the county we're doing work for, we're going to be widening a street, and they've told us they want us to go and start. So I'm assuming they're seeing that as essential work and they want that done. I
I
think
mean,
for
it's almost an
us,
ideal time for you with less traffic on the roads
absolutely.
too, right?
Absolutely. That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Is that when there's no cars out there, this is when I'd rather work. Keeps my guys a lot safer and
And the
obviously safer
profits are
for me
probably
as
going to be
well.
better too for you, right?
They could be. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I mean,
yeah,
I hope they are.
yeah. Well,
Cheaper,
I mean,
easier, just
less infrastructure set up to keep traffic from killing you guys.
for sure. I mean, really, that's the biggest concern for all of us, especially on these busy roads, is keeping it safe for the guys. I mean, money, none of the money matters if you can't keep your guys safe. It's not worth
Right,
it.
right. So, what size crew do you have?
So we'll run different crews. Like we have an earthwork crew, we have an asphalt crew, we have a concrete crew.
Yep.
We have in the field, I think we're running right now about 20, probably like 26 people.
Okay.
We're coming out of winter, so obviously winter's a little slower. The rain kind of slows everything down.
Yeah.
The jobs slow down, but we're coming out of winter now and into the spring, and this is kind of the COVID's kind of slowed everything down. So I don't really know what's going to happen, but we're running about like 26 to 27 field guys right now.
Gotcha.
And then those crews will be breaking up. I think our paving crew is like 7 or 8 guys. Our earthwork crew is probably like 4 or 5 guys. The
Okay, so
concrete
you
crew can depend on the job.
pretty sizable number of mouths to feed.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I think
Yes.
we have about 38 total is what we're running for the whole company.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. I know we were just talking about going out and prospecting, but I like your sign behind you. Stay hungry.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
I just
Thank
noticed
you.
that. Oh, I like to stay humble as well. That's good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you got to stay humble too, for
Yeah.
sure.
That's
No,
awesome.
I
That's awesome.
definitely. Thank
Where'd
you.
you get that?
I order them. I have a couple of them actually. I got another one that says you can't deposit excuses, and then a third one that says persistence, not giving up until you succeed. So I
Oh,
kind of had
nice.
found a set that I liked when we redid our. This is our. I'm in our conference room right now, which we redid earlier this year, which
Yeah.
we've literally been like. You would have thought we were in just like a rented place. Like we do. We actually lease this place, but it looked like we had just moved in and done nothing. And this is the first room that looks professional. So I I had
That's
to get some
awesome.
pictures, some canvases to make it look nice and make
Yeah,
us look professional a little bit.
I'm gonna look for some of those too. I mean, I'm in my home office here, which is in relative. We just kind of cleared out a storage room here because I'm working from home now. Um,
Yeah,
but
I can
no, I like
imagine.
that. I've got a couple places where that would look good on the wall for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, I love canvases. I actually have a great canvas place. If you, I'll message you after.
Yeah, yeah. Shoot me a
Um,
message.
that they actually do. If you have your own like picture that you want, they're pretty cheap and they get reasonable deals and they come pretty quick. So
Nice, nice. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate it. But
no
let's
problem.
circle back around to you were kind of mentioning when you started, like what you would do differently. You would kind of
Yeah,
give free, almost. Forget what you said. But basically, you'd work under someone. So
yeah.
talk to me about what it was like for you starting. Obviously, it doesn't sound like that was how you started.
No. We started in residential actually. We were doing like remodels and additions, and that's kind of what my dad had done. So that's kind of where I had experience, and that's where I kind of had gone. And in '07, when '08, when the market started crashing, the business just wasn't there because we weren't the cheap option. We were kind of the quality option.
Yep.
And everyone was losing money. They'd rather go with the cheap option. So we weren't really getting work. And we had kind of moved into the public sector. I had a buddy who kind of started showing us how to find these jobs and how to bid them, and we kind of slowly moved into that arena, and then never really looked back because it was really the direction to go.
Yeah. So you were doing remodeling, but then you kind of switched over into earthworks and that sort of thing.
Yeah, we started with concrete, and then we
Okay.
started pushing into just more and getting bigger. Concrete was kind of our focus back then,
Yep.
and we do some small earthwork stuff. Then it just started getting bigger and bigger once we realized. Because for this work, you have to be bonded. You have to get an insurance company to kind of bond you. So if you don't finish the job or if you fail, the bond will come in and take care of it so they can finish the job.
Right. Right.
So we could only bid what we could bond. So they
Yep.
started us off real slow, and we had a bond company, Surety One, some guys who were really good guys that took care of us from the beginning. And maybe, I mean, they tried to really give us everything they could to help us push us along, and they've stuck with us all the way through. And now they're taking care of us, really taking care of us, letting us get the things we need to really grow.
Right. Right. No, that's interesting. So you kind of switching back to present day, you're saying you're looking to get more into commercial, like parking lots, things like that. What's your method of getting business, or what's your plan to kind of reach out to people and and advertise and get people looking for you?
So we've actually got a whole lot of stuff that where I'm trying. I mean, really, I'll try anything new. I was actually interested to hear you were saying you kind of look into helping people get leads and stuff. So I'm super interested to hear what you do because I'm
Sure.
always open to new ideas.
Yep.
But what I had done is last year, towards the end of the year, I started building a marketing department, and I hired a couple people to come in and uh, just bring ideas on ways we can find these works, ways we can get in to these different we call them verticals. Like
Sure.
verticals. I had a guy who came in. He was selling me on the idea of trying to go after apartment complexes
Yep.
and really hit up the apartment complexes and try to get in with them.
For
So we're
paving
working
or
on
for
that
concrete?
for asphalt mostly. I
Yep.
think asphalt's really where we're pushing on the commercial side, and concrete's a nice complement to that. So we can do
Sure.
both.
For
But
curbs
asphalt's
and whatnot.
where we really want to push because it's hard to keep an asphalt. I don't know how much you know about asphalt, but it's hard to keep asphalt crews busy.
I didn't know that about it. Yeah.
Because well, I mean, it's not hard to keep them busy if you have work, but it just takes a lot of work. Like a general job, I can go through on the general side, I could go through 10, 12 projects in a year. And I mean, that's a pretty busy year for them because they're
Yep.
good sized jobs.
Yep.
A large asphalt job could last like maybe 2 weeks,
Okay.
or a decent sized asphalt job could get done in a day. So, I mean, there's a lot of jobs, individual jobs you need to get in order to keep that crew working all year.
Right.
So,
Right.
the public side's great, but I'm pushing the commercial side because I want this crew to stay busy all the time. I don't want them to have days off or, where we're waiting for a job to start. I want to be putting jobs in every day.
So these are going
So
to be
we're just
more
always,
filler jobs for you then.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and some of them are good sized jobs. Like we did a church, 170,000 square foot church, which was remove and replace. And those are good jobs. I mean, it's about a week out there. So it's not really, it's kind of a fill in, but I mean, these are all jobs. You just need to keep the jobs coming. So
Yep.
you got to have as many streams as you can.
Yep.
So
What's the
the
difference? Do you quote profits the same commercial and public? I know you had said you kind of figured out where you need to be for profits. Is there a better profit in commercial or public?
It's just, I think it's different. I don't know if the profits are the, that's a good question, actually. I'm not sure. I would say that the profits are fairly similar. I think
Sure.
it's maybe a little less on the commercial side, just because
Interesting.
well, on the public side, it's prevailing wage. So, I mean, where the rates are much higher, all the costs are a lot higher. There's
Sure.
bonds and insurance is crazy. The public side, it's a little bit easier. There's not, the standards aren't as they don't have like written standard books. You're going in and dealing with a customer and getting them what they need.
Right.
And a lot of times there's things that are unforeseen. So the customer's getting a little extra than maybe we had planned,
Hmm.
or you'll get in there and things will be changed and be like, hey, this isn't what we had seen originally. Like you get in and maybe their subgrade's no good and they have big problems with subgrade, and then you got to start removing subgrade and fixing areas so they don't have pumping and things like that.
So would you go back and readjust the quote like with that sort of scope creep or?
If need be, yeah. Like if we go into, if you do a remove and replace, say, like for a parking lot, when we're going to remove all the asphalt and then you kind of put a roller on the subgrade just to make sure it's solid, you could hit a couple areas that start to pump where you can really see like it's just not tight soil.
Yeah.
And a lot of times for those, you have to dig that out and then fill it with like a aggregate based rock.
Sure.
So we'll go to them and say, hey, this is your best bet. We can either dig this and leave it open and hopefully it can dry out in a couple days, or we can dig it out and rock it. And if we're gonna kind of rip it and leave it, that's usually something we can take care of. If you start to remove and excavate it, it just turns into more of a project.
Right. It's
So then
more man hours
kind
and
of
all of that.
yeah. Then you're pulling dirt out, you're bringing rock in, so you're getting more material. So there's definitely more involved. And then we'll kind of readdress that with a customer if need be.
Nice. Nice. So if so say on the commercial side, if a customer was to choose between you and three other people, what would kind of set you apart from the competition?
I think really our crews. I mean, just the pride our guys take. I mean, we take pride in our guys, all of our
Yep.
guys. I think most of our people want to work for us because we really try to take care of them.
Yep.
Especially in this going on. I mean, I want to take care of our guys. I've told all of our guys if they don't feel safe that they should stay home, and we'll
Yep.
take care of them. If they want to work, we want them to work. So really, it's their choice. But we take care of our guys just in the long run because really they're the ones that get all these jobs done. They're the ones that make everything happen for us. So
Yep.
our guys take real pride in what they
That's
do.
awesome.
So I mean, they work real hard. They're out there seeing things, and a lot of our people will catch stuff ahead of time. So like we can find problems or say, hey, this could be a problem area, or maybe this is going to be an issue. So we're not like really we're not like I just go in and get it done and move on and not worry about it. We really want to take care of the customer, make sure they're getting exactly what they need, make sure they're getting the finished product, and making it so they can get a product that's going to last them, especially with the parking lot, going to last them 40 years.
Right.
And we're trying to educate them too on not just saying like, well, that's great that you redid your parking lot and it's fine. Because I see a lot of people, contractors will come in and they'll redo a parking lot, and that's great. And it looks amazing. It'll look amazing for a good 10 years. But without maintaining your parking lot and doing some work on it, it's not going to last over 30 years. I mean, if you're planning on keeping this parking lot for 10 years, I mean, you're probably fine. You can sell it and it'll be gone. But in 30 years, like cracks start to form, tree roots start to push up and make areas. And cracks are really the problem with asphalt. If you get a crack
Talk,
in your asphalt,
yeah, maybe
starts to
talk to
rain, the
me.
water. Yeah,
Sorry, I interrupted you. I was going to say, talk to me a bit about that and educate me on that.
yeah. So cracks are really the problem with asphalt. Well, really water is the problem with asphalt, but cracks are what let water in.
Hmm.
So it starts to rain and water gets in those cracks, and it gets down into the cracks and it starts to make the sub base kind of deteriorate because the water is getting down there.
Yep.
And so the longer that water gets in there, and then it dries out, and then it comes back, and then it dries out, it starts to make these voids, and you'll start to see alligator in there, or you'll see cracks get bigger, and then cracks will form to more cracks, and that turns into alligatoring, which is where areas have a lot of cracks.
Right.
The whole area starts to go bad.
Okay.
And that's really where, I mean, your asphalt's pretty much done at that point, and that means you're having sub-base problems because all the water's getting down there.
Right.
So really what you should be doing is that once you have a parking lot, you've got this investment that you put into your lot, is now you want to take care of it. You want to have someone come in. We actually do a thing that we've been working on where we'll come in yearly and we'll check their parking lots. We'll do a report on it. We fill all their cracks, make sure everything's good to go so that the water's not getting in, before the rainy season comes.
Yep.
California, we're lucky where it only really rains in the winter. In the summer, it's just really hot.
Yeah.
So we'll come in before the rain comes. We'll check all these cracks, make sure they're all filled so we can keep that water out in the winter. We'll come back after the winter, make sure it's still looking good. And we'll just protect that lot. And then you come in maybe every like 5, 6, 7, 8 years, depending on your lot, and you give it a seal coat.
Okay.
Like a coating over the whole parking lot.
Yeah.
And really, if you're doing this maintenance, this small, I mean, it's at a small cost, but you're coming in yearly and just doing these checks, it's going to make your parking lot last. I mean, it could double the life of your lot.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I mean, that makes sense too. So I've worked in concrete before. Like I've done concrete finishing and concrete laying.
Yeah.
I've never worked in the asphalt world though. I've done a little bit of patching here and there. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm doing this podcast is to kind of learn and educate myself. So that makes sense though, because I mean, up here in Canada, we have to deal with the rain getting in and then everything freezing in the winter too, right?
And freezing makes it way worse.
Yeah.
Water gets under there and freezes, and it starts to create voids because the ice will expand.
Yeah.
So it takes up more space than just the water. So now you'll start to get buckling in your asphalt, or it'll really go down and really start messing up your base layer for the asphalt. And asphalt's not like concrete. Concrete can bridge. You could have a void underneath your concrete, and it'll bridge, and it won't really fall apart. Asphalt's not made to do that. It'll start to fall into that hole and create potholes.
Yeah. No, exactly. That's interesting. So basically, you have a subscription service where you basically will do their parking lot maintenance or asphalt maintenance for them. Yeah.
Yeah. We call it what we call it is an asphalt life extension program.
Yep.
This is something that we've been working on really hard in the last year, getting this together and getting it in so we can come in and take care of these. And really what I tell people is that doing something like this, like there's really not a lot of cost in it for us. It's not a huge profit thing. And what it's doing is extending the life of your parking lot. So really it's taking business away from me.
Yeah, exactly.
The business model would be, hey, let your parking lot fall apart so that I can come in and replace it and repair it.
Right.
But I'd much rather be there for customers now. Like if they don't need parking lots for 10 years, maybe we can make that 20 years. Maybe we can add an extra 10 years onto your parking lot where you won't need us to come in for 10 years.
And the flip side of that, the
flip
side is that you're building trust with them and then the referral base is going to be much stronger.
For sure. Well, I mean, we're not looking to build one-time customers. I'm looking to build, relationships with people everywhere.
Yeah.
And really give you the best advice for you, not the best advice for me. I think a lot of contractors, even back to residential, so many customers had to have bad contractor stories. Like there's just so many bad contractor stories out there. And we're really trying to not make those continue. We want to have good contractor stories, and we want to be here for you to give you the best information for you, not the best information for us.
Right.
The best information for us is we should rip all this out and replace it, but that might not be your best situation.
Yeah. No, I like it. That's awesome. Because I mean, contractors can tend to have a bad rap.
For sure.
and so to kind of try and stand out that way, you're building trust in a way that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise, for sure.
Yeah, we're working really hard to kind of change that name.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's awesome. Um, what? One second, I just had a couple of questions here.
Oh, you're good.
Just reading down through them. I think we've covered a lot of the stuff actually.
I have a graphic I can send you too. We've kind of worked out a graphic on how like the cracks in the water will create alligatoring and potholes, and I can send you that graphic too.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that just for my own education.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess with everything that's going on, what's kind of your stance and what are you doing to make sure that things continue? I know you said you just landed this public works job, but there's
We
obviously
we haven't really seen so the estimating is definitely slowing down. We're still estimating. We still have requests coming in, but I would say they're probably half, if not less, than what they were before all this started. We have a bunch of backlogs, so we're pushing through the backlog. A lot of these schools and street work want to get done, so they're still having us do the work. So that's good. That's a good side of it. But the estimating is where I'm probably the most nervous, just making sure these jobs are still coming in. Because I mean, the backlog only lasts so long, and then even if everything goes back to normal, then you start bidding, and it takes you don't bid and do the job tomorrow. There's like a couple month process in there to get everything kind of cycling through.
right. So
So
are
that's kind of where I'm nervous.
you talking estimations on like the commercial side or even on the public
Just
side?
everything across the board.
Okay.
The public side takes longer. If you bid a job, it'll probably take 2 to 3 months for a job to start after you bid it.
Sure,
The
sure,
public
because they've got to
side,
go through the whole.
yeah, contracting and submittals and everything like that.
Yeah.
On the private side, it can go a little faster. But like if we're doing new construction, like asphalt's usually the last thing. So, they're going to come in and do all this other stuff, and then they'll come in and do asphalt. So we could still
Right.
be 3, 4, 5 months out.
Right.
So that's a dip there. What I'm doing is, well, we just hit Q1, so I'm kind of going over all of my employees' quarterly goals. I kind of have sheets that I started this last year, but we have them fill out a sheet, and then I sit down with them at the end of the quarter and just say, hey, where are you with your goals? What are your goals going to be going forward? And I'm kind of regrouping everybody and saying, we had these goals of where we were trying to hit our numbers for this year, and those numbers are kind of shot. Like we can't really expect the same results. So now I'm kind of regrouping everybody and saying, okay, what can you do individually to benefit the company and keep the company on track towards our ultimate goals? Like I don't want to change our goals yet.
Right.
So what can you do individually? And I'm kind of retasking each individual person with, hey, where can you kind of come through and find something and look for new areas, because maybe we'll find some new streams.
Right.
I believe that if I own a commercial building and I'm not scared for my life in this, because I think some people are very scared, which is maybe a reasonable reaction for that.
Right. Right.
But if I'm a building owner or something and our property manager and I'm not scared, I'm thinking that, well, I have all these buildings that are usually full of people all the time, and now they're not. Like now might be a good time to do this work.
Yeah. Yeah. Less disruptive for sure.
Yeah. So you're not, because we'll come into some of these places. I mean, like, so if you have an apartment complex, it's probably not the best time to work in an apartment.
Right. Everybody's parked there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I own a car lot, like, or a car dealership, or if I own churches are a different beast because you can do those work usually during the week. But there's a lot of companies out there who have a lot of employees or a lot of people at their buildings, and it's difficult for them to do this kind of work when you're working out a parking lot.
Yeah.
But now's the time to do it. So I'm hoping that we're going to hit this area where these people say, okay, we're going to get back on track. Things aren't going to be as scary. Let's focus on getting some work done in this downtime that we have.
I like
We're the whole state's on lockdown, unless you're supposed to be sitting at home.
Yeah, I mean I think it's sweeping across the country now. I mean we're pretty well the same here in New Brunswick. Basically just essential services, emergency services, whatever keeps the basic infrastructure going is what's
Absolutely.
essential. So yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
so
interesting.
It'd be good if we can start getting some of these people to realize that now is the time to get some of this work done.
Yep. Yep. No, absolutely. That's awesome. Okay, well, I've really enjoyed this. I'd like to riff with you after maybe a bit about what I do. I usually try not to include that in here because this isn't meant to be a sales pitch for me.
Absolutely.
But if you have any final tips or anything for fellow asphalt people or just contractors in general.
I think right now it's just be safe. Make sure we're taking care of our people. Make sure we're, putting your people first. I mean, like money is great and profits are great, but making sure our people are safe in this time, making sure that we're not putting them in situations that are dangerous. I mean, in the office and in the field, we don't want people getting sick. I think
Sure.
that's really, and I think that's more, not even just for my company, which I mean, it's the most important is my company, because this is my family and my company are really what I have. But really,
Yeah,
as a country, I think we just need to be taking care of each other and making sure we're not putting ourselves, which in turn puts everybody else at risk. So
I love it.
I think that any advice I have right now is really based around that.
Awesome.
I think that's all we should be focusing on right now. I think
Yeah,
making the money and the profit and getting these jobs done is what we need to do, but not at the cost of sacrificing safety for our people and for everybody else. So,
I like it. I think that can apply to even situations outside of this.
oh, for sure, and that
Good.
really should apply all the time.
Yeah,
But yeah,
exactly.
I think it's a big priority right now.
Good stuff. Well, on that note, I appreciate it, Jonathan. And just stick around here. I'll stop the recording and then we'll carry on.
Absolutely, thank you. Appreciate
All
your
right.
time.
Cheers.